My name is Lianne Genzman, and I am a fifth grade math and science teacher. I've been teaching for about 15 plus years, but that is not the first profession that I held. I actually went to university to become a restoration biologist, and I worked in that profession for quite a number of years before I left to pursue teaching. So, what I currently do in my day to day job now is I am a fifth grade math and science teacher. But prior to this job, I worked as a restoration technician for a number of years. And what that meant was that I was responsible for repairing some of the tributaries of certain rivers in different watersheds and basically trying to restore them back to their original state. So, the question is what sparked my interest in this career? And actually, my interest started in this career when I was in university. I was going to school for my undergraduate in physical geography, and I was asked to be a research assistant to one of my professors. And during that summer, we worked outdoors, and we were doing a lot of mapping the areas of deglaciation up in the Lake Superior region of northern Ontario. And what that really meant was I went out with my professor and I used a compass, and we basically were looking at topography to try and see if we could understand where the glaciers were about 10 to 15,000 years ago and why the landscape looked the way that it did. What training did you receive? Well, the training that I received was an undergraduate in physical geography. I also have a postgraduate degree in restoration ecology, and then I went on to get my teaching degree afterwards, and I hold a master's degree in mathematics education. The question was, what is one fun fact about you and or your career? And the fun fact I would say was I was born and raised in Canada. I did all of my initial training for the restoration ecology job in Canada, and then my teaching certification when I came over to the United States. But I think that the fun fact is probably connecting the two ecosystems and realizing that although they are very different, they're very similar in a lot of ways as well. What advice would you give to young women pursuing a career in STEM? I would say that to keep your doors open and to keep your interests broad, because a lot of the jobs that you're preparing for likely don't even exist yet. What do you love about STEM? Well, I love that it's a systematic approach to math and science. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self? I would say reflect on moments, challenge yourself, and if you weren't going to do this career, what would you have done as a backup plan? Well, to be honest, I've kind of already done that. So I pursued a career in restoration ecology and realized that I loved it, but what I loved more was working with the landowners and the school children that would come out and volunteer. So I liked the education side more so than the original reason why I went into restoration ecology. So I feel like I got the best of both worlds, and kind of having that backup plan led me into teaching. Why do you think informal science education is so important? For example, going to the Science Center. So this is actually my favorite question. This is something that I spent a lot of time with teaching in my own classroom. It's the aha moments. It's those moments that you kind of uncover things all on your own without any prompting, and it's just by experience. It's just by the doing, the actual application of the science concepts that we're studying that make those experiences so very important. Tell us your favorite quote or your favorite book. So my favorite quote would be actually a Bill Nye quote, and the quote says, "Everyone you ever meet will know something that you don't." And I think this quote's really important, especially in the STEM field, because it allows us to be humble and to be open-minded and to know that it's good to challenge yourself, and it's also good to always be looking at other thought processes and other opinions about things. What is one piece of advice that you would give to young girls? I would say to volunteer and to volunteer often in all areas of the STEM field.